Why does your heart keep limping back to the same emergency room with a new name on the chart? Same heartbreak, different faces. Same apology, different perfume. Same storm, new umbrella that still leaks. Because you are conducting experiments on laws, and laws are not lab rats. Write it down. Feelings are real, but principles are final. Tweet that now. Your tears are valid. Your loneliness is loud. Your chemistry can be electric, but principles do not blink. You can negotiate with your emotions. You cannot negotiate with the law. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6-7. Pain is the invoice for violated laws. And some of you have been faithfully paying it with interest. I came today with a courtroom, not a couch. Love is not a laboratory. Love is a courtroom where laws rule and evidence matters. The judge is principle, the witnesses are your habits, and the verdict is your future. In a courtroom, you don't argue with gravity, you present evidence of obedience. You don't plead with truth to be kind, you align with truth to be safe. The law of the Lord is perfect, restoring the soul. Psalm 19-7. If your soul isn't being restored, check what law you ignored. Honesty is my only policy. I will not protect your feelings at the expense of your future. I'd rather bruise you with truth than bandage you with lies. You tried vibes instead of vows. You tried spark instead of standards. You told yourself this time it's different, while you kept the same boundaries invisible and the same standards negotiable. Then when consequences arrived, you called it bad luck. It's not bad luck, it's bad law keeping. You can ignore law, you cannot break it. It will break you. Write this too. Your pain persists because you keep negotiating with laws that do not negotiate. Listen carefully. In this journey, we are going to expose the law you ignored and the boundary you must set today, not tomorrow, today. We will shut down the cycle by shutting down the experiment. You don't test laws, laws test you. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 14:12. Some of you have been following the way that seems right, how you feel at midnight, how lonely you felt in January, how persuasive that smile was in July, and the end keeps looking like December, cold, dark, and empty. The calendar is preaching to you. I'm speaking like a father now, as one who has counseled leaders, couples, and casualties. Principle is my language, and integrity is my accent. You can never disagree with the principle. You can only disagree with your pain. Stop trying to make exceptions your doctrine. The universe does not read your excuses, it reads your ethics. Seed time and harvest shall not cease. Genesis 8:22. If you plant secrecy, you harvest suspicion. If you plant flattery, you harvest manipulation. If you plant boundaries, you harvest trust. So here is the charge that begins this series. Shut the lab. Open the court. Bring your case under law. Bring your emotions under oath. Let your desires testify with evidence. If they cannot survive cross-examination by principle, they are guilty desires. We will build a life where outcomes are predictable because obedience is predictable. And I promise you, confrontation today will be consolation tomorrow. Write it down, tweet it. Save your future. In a courtroom, the judge does not ask how you feel. The judge asks, what is the law? This is where we live now. Principles are laws. Write it down. They are fixed, universal, non-negotiable. They don't take polls. They don't read your DMs. They don't bow to birthdays or anniversaries. You can ignore principle, but you can never disagree with a principle. You can shout at it, cry on it, take it to lunch. It will still be what it is. For I, the Lord, do not change. Malachi 3:6. Forever, O Lord, your word is settled in heaven. Psalm 119-89. Settled means not moving. Say it out loud. Principles are laws. They never change. Again, principles are laws. They never change. Let me make it plain. If you jump off a 10-story building with tears in your eyes, clutching a bouquet, heartbroken and sincere, you will hit the ground. Gravity doesn't apologize. Gravity won't say, I see you're emotional, so I will suspend myself for a moment. Laws do not empathize, they execute. Treat principles as constraints, not suggestions, or your heart will keep paying physics-level prices. Write that and circle it. Feelings are real, but principles are final. Tweet this to somebody right now. Feelings are weather. Principles are climate. Weather shifts by the hour. Climate sets the season. Your relationships keep being stormy because you keep forecasting with feelings and ignoring the climate of law. Here is where many of you misread the terrain. Chemistry feels true. Covenant is what is true. Chemistry ignites. Covenant endures. Emotions make promises. Principles keep them. Jesus said, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock, and it did not fall. Matthew 7:24-25. The rock is principle. The sand is emotion. The same rain fell on both houses, but only one had boundaries that did not move. Built on rock, storms are guaranteed. Consequences are faithful employees of violated law. You break a principle in private, you pay in public with trust, with time, with tears, always. Desire without knowledge is not good. Proverbs 19:2. Desire is your feeling, knowledge is the law. When desire drives and knowledge rides in the trunk, you will crash, and apologizing to the tree won't fix the bumper. Honesty is my only policy. Your last 5 heartbreaks were not mysteries, they were invoices. You can never disagree with the principle. So what do? We submit emotions to statutes. We set constraints before we set dates. Put this in your notes. I do not ask laws to bend. I adjust my behavior to fit them. You don't schedule a meeting with gravity, you buy a parachute. Translate that. Set boundaries before chemistry, not after compromise. Assign curfews to your passion, budgets to your generosity, chaperones to your vulnerability. That's not control. That is compassion for your destiny. Every good and perfect gift is from above, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. James 1:17. If God does not vary, then the gifts he blesses flourish under invariant, clear, non-negotiable lines. Let me pass you with a picture. Rails do not imprison the train. Rails release the train to reach its destination. Banks do not punish the river. Banks empower the river to have force. Your life will gain speed and power the moment you accept the rails of principle. Say this with conviction. My feelings are servants, not sovereigns. My covenant sits on rock, not sand. Write it. Tweet it. Live it. Because gravity will not say sorry, and principles will not send flowers to your hospital bed. Align now, and you won't need stitches later. Why do we call the alphabet characters? Think. Why not call them suggestions, moods, or vibes? Because A is always A. In Africa, A is A. In Asia, A is A. In the Bahamas or the Bronx, at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., A is A. B is still B. C refuses to become D just because the night is lonely. Write it down. We call them characters because they do not change. Tweet that to somebody right now. What about numbers? 1 is always 1. 2 plus 2 is 4 at 2 a.m. Not 5 because you're crying. Numbers don't adapt to your hormones. And statues do not move. They are carved into shape, and they keep that shape under sun, under storm, under spotlight, under shadow. That is integrity, oneness, sameness, stability. That's why we call them characters. Now, let me bring heaven into the classroom. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Deuteronomy 6:4. Holiness begins with oneness. God is not double, he is integrated. That is why he says, be holy, for I am holy. 1 Peter 1:16. In plain terms, be one, be whole, be the same. Character is simply integrity, one you, one face, one standard. No public you and private you. No Sunday saint and Monday secret. Remember my policy. Honesty is my only policy. There is no such thing as a private life. There is only a secret life waiting to become public. Write this down. Character is what never changes. Character is self-imposed discipline that refuses to negotiate at midnight. Trust is built on that sameness. People don't actually trust your promises. They trust your predictability. They don't trust your charisma. They trust your character. The foundation of trust is integrity. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. No footnotes, no fine print. Psalm 15 describes the person who swears to his own hurt and does not change. Psalm 15:4. That's a statue in a blizzard. Same stance, same shape, same vow, even when it costs. Write it. Your word weighs as much as your character. Character is the weight of your words. So here is the dating filter. Never covenant with a letter that changes shape in the dark. If B becomes P after midnight, don't marry it. If 1 becomes 2 when nobody's looking, don't tie your destiny to that calculator. Your future is allergic to shapeshifters. Ask the 2 a.m. question and make it law. Who are you at 2 a.m. when no one is watching? Are you the same when you are tired, tempted, or teased? Are you the same with power, with pain, with praise? Write it down. Audit yourself. Audit them. Do they tell the truth when a small lie would make them look impressive? Do they honor boundaries when the door is unlocked and the lights are low? Do they return the extra change? Do they keep confidences when gossip would make them popular? Character is what you do when access meets opportunity without supervision. Let me press you as a father. Stop falling in love with fonts that look pretty but change under heat. Fall in love with letters, constants, not cursive illusions. If you must keep decoding who they are, you do not have a partner. You have a puzzle. And puzzles are entertainment, not covenant. You can never disagree with the principle. Only trust what doesn't change. If you doubt it, test it. Pressure doesn't create character. Pressure reveals character. If she is gentle when adored and cruel when ignored, that's not character. That's weather. If he is generous when watched and stingy in secret, that's not integrity. That's performance. Bring it home now. Decide today to become a character in the alphabet of heaven. A that remains A across seasons. Be the number that counts the same in famine and in feast. Become a living statue carved by conviction, not a mannequin dressed by moods. Then, and only then, do you qualify to discern another shape. Tweet this before you forget. Predictability is the proof of integrity. And here is the vow. You write in your journal tonight. At 2 a.m., I am the same man, the same woman, the same word. My life is one. My yes is iron. My no is granite. My boundaries are carved, not pencil. Because character is what never changes, and I will only trust what doesn't change. Then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness, and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Did you see the order? Image, then dominion. Not dominion, then image. God put character before power. That sequence is not poetry. It is policy. Write it down. Order is protective, not decorative. You can never disagree with the principle. If the Creator set image before dominion to run a planet, you must set image before dominion to run a relationship. Because dominion without image is demolition. Treat that. Bring it to your life. Dominion is access keys, passwords, bodies, bank cards, schedules, secrets. Do not give dominion to a face that has not proven image. Do not hand your emotions to a mouth that has not mastered its own. Do not hand your body to a future that has not mastered yesterday's debts. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Proverbs 25-28. If there are no walls, do not park your treasure there. Honesty is my only policy. Some of you got hurt because you gave dominion to charisma before you verified character. You promoted what you did not prove. Power does not corrupt. Power reveals corruption. Intimacy doesn't create who they are. It magnifies who they are. That's why the night felt like revelation it was. More access simply turned up the volume on their nature. If they were careless with your time at stage 1, they will be reckless with your boundaries at stage 5. If they hid small things with a smile, they will hide larger things with strategy. Jesus said, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Least, then much. Image, then dominion. Same law. So here is the gatekeeping protocol. Write it down. Stage 1, observation without obligation. Watch them under weather, late, hungry, correct it. Don't announce the test. Life will provide it. Stage 2, conversation with verification. Cross-check their stories with community and calendar. Lies hate witnesses. Stage 3, Collaboration in small responsibilities. Share a project, not a pillow. Can they meet a deadline? Return what they borrowed? Resolve conflict without punishment? Stage 4, community confirmation. Bring elders, mentors, and truth tellers into the process. Transparency isn't control, it is insurance for trust. Stage 5, covenant boundaries, clear curfews, clear purity rules, clear financial lines. If their image respects your lines, dominion begins to earn a seat. If they press for premature access, they just fail the image test. Lead with your life, not with your lips or your libido. Your life must be your introduction, your ethics, your resume, your boundaries, your business card. If they cannot lead themselves, do not let them lead you. If your own disciplines wobble, do not apply for leadership over another soul. God gave Adam work before he gave him a wife assignment before access. Genesis 2:15-18. Image before dominion is still the policy. Give them small nose and watch their soul. No to late night visits. Do they sulk or submit? No to merging money. Do they honor or manipulate? No to exclusive secrecy. Do they welcome counsel or label it control? The way they handle no is the x-ray of their image. Tweet this to somebody right now. Do not entrust great privileges to those who fail small responsibilities. Never grant access before character. Image must govern dominion, or dominion will damage you. Lock your gates until image is verified. Set your sequence like heaven, likeness, then license. Those who complain about the order are not qualified for the throne of your trust. Write it down, live it loudly, your covenant depends on it. Now that you have your sequence, let's take you into the stress lab. Write it down. 3 things will test your character, power, money, and access to sex. Every collapse you've watched on the news, in your neighborhood, in your family, trace the autopsy, and the cause of death shows up in this triad. Politicians, preachers, or parents, bosses, boyfriends, or brides, same 3. You can never disagree with the principle. Hypothetical number 1, sex. Somebody slides into your life with an opportunity. I'll pay off your mortgage if you sleep with me once, one time, private, quick. No one will know. Are you for sale? That's the question. If your price exists, the market will find it. Joseph faced this test in real life. Potiphar's wife grabbed his coat and his future with it. Joseph said, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And he fled. Genesis 39:9-12. He lost his coat, but he kept his character. Write it down. It is better to leave your jacket in her hand than your destiny in her bed. Samson faced the same test and failed. He told her all his heart. Judges 16:17. He traded a vow for a lap, and a nation lost a judge. Power didn't kill Samson, a price did. Flee sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6:18. Not negotiate. Flee. Tweet that to somebody now. Hypothetical number 2, power. Your partner begins to manage your calendar, ration your friends, and negotiate your worship. If you love me, you won't go to that prayer meeting. If you love me, you won't listen to your mentor. If you love me, you'll submit to me, not to God. That is not love, that is lust for lordship. Do you exchange peace for permission? We must obey God rather than men. Acts 5:29. Daniel would not close his window when the Lord said stop praying. He preferred lions to compromise. Daniel 6. Write it down. If someone must be your God for you to be their partner, that's idolatry, not intimacy. Never give dominion to anyone who asks you to disobey the one who gave you breath. Hypothetical number 3, money, sudden cash, expensive gifts, the new phone, the weekend trip, a bank transfer with a kiss in the memo line. Do your standards rise or your convictions drop? Scripture says, a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise. Deuteronomy 16:19. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. Some of you aren't dating a person, you're dating a purse. Gifts with strings are not gifts, they are leashes. Ask yourself right now, if the funding stops, does your faithfulness stop? If the account dries, does your integrity evaporate? Write it down. Wealth should increase your worship, not purchase your silence. Let me be a father to you. Predetermine your answers. Panic is poor policy. Pre-write your response before the test arrives. Joseph didn't invent no in the bedroom. He carried it from the prayer room. Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself before the plate was served. Daniel 1-8. Jesus in the wilderness faced power, provision, and idolatry and kept saying, "It is written," Matthew 4. He rehearsed truth so he could reject offers. Do the same. Write your script. I do not exchange purity for payment. I do not trade worship for approval. I do not sell truth for tips. I do not take gifts that gag my conscience. I do not negotiate my vow at midnight. Say it until your soul is carved like a statue. Here is the law. Tweet it and tattoo it on your mind. Predetermine that your price is zero. If you're not for sale, you cannot be bought. Set it now, not later. Because later is where feelings negotiate. Now is where principles legislate. And when the test comes, and it will, your predecided no will guard your destiny like angels with flaming swords. Honesty is my only policy. Lock yourself in before life lets you out. Your covenant is too expensive to rent to the highest bidder. Set your price at zero and watch every buyer walk away empty-handed while you walk into a future that cannot be purchased, only proven. Predetermine your price, yes, but now you must build the architecture that keeps your price at zero when the market knocks. Write this down and lock it in. Philosophy produces values. Values produce morals. Morals inform ethics. Ethics produce character. Character becomes lifestyle. That is the cascade. That is the conveyor belt of destiny. You don't rise to your hopes. You fall to your systems. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Mind first philosophy, then everything else follows like cars on a train. Tweet that to somebody right now. What is philosophy? It is your belief about reality, God, self, purpose, people. If your philosophy is I belong to God, my body is a temple, covenant is sacred, then your values become clear. Let's define 5 non-negotiables for dating. Write them not in pencil, in ink. Honor, truth, chastity, transparency, stewardship. Honor. Every human bears God's image. Therefore, I refuse to use a soul as entertainment. Truth, I tell the truth quickly, completely, consistently. Chastity, sex is covenant property, not trial merchandise. Transparency, no secrets that sabotage trust. Stewardship time, money, and emotions are resources to manage, not fields to burn. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Guard it with values that actually carry swords. Now translate values into ethics. Ethics are rules you choose to enforce on yourself, self-imposed discipline. If you cannot list them, you do not have them. Curfews. We end dates by 9:30 p.m. Not because we are weak, but because we are wise. Public spaces. We meet in places with people and light. Privacy is reserved for proven covenant. No sleepovers, not yours, not mine, not just the couch. Accountability partners. A same-sex mentor who can call your phone at any hour and you answer. Budget limits. Cap gifts, cap dinners, cap spontaneous spending. Stewardship kills. Manipulation. DM's policy. No deleting threads. No secret contacts. Responses during daylight. No flirt following. Opposite sex communication is copied to accountability when it becomes personal. Write it down. Values only matter when they become enforceable ethics that shape daily behavior. James says, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. James 1:22. Self-deception is having values without ethics. Adopt only policies. Honesty isn't the best policy. Honesty is my only policy. Purity isn't my preference. Purity is my only policy. Transparency isn't my suggestion. Transparency is my only policy. Make them sound like law because they are your law. Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Amos 3:3. Agreement is not a mood. It is an ethic. If they cannot sign the policy, they are not your partner. They are your protest. Now craft your lifestyle liturgy, daily declarations that align your feet with your philosophy. Say it, pray it, live it. I do not lie. I do not hide. I do not cross these boundaries. I do not accept gifts that gag my conscience. I do not enter rooms my integrity cannot exit. I honor time. I honor bodies. I honor mentors. I answer my phone. I keep receipts. I confess quickly. Repeat it until your soul becomes a statue. Character is self-imposed. Discipline, say it until your reflex is righteousness. Enforcement is love for your future. Create a consequence ladder. Write this down. Level 1, pause. A minor boundary breach triggers a cooling period, no dates for 2 weeks. Increase check-ins. Review the ethic that was violated. Level 2, counsel. Repeat. Offense or serious breach invokes mentors or pastors, mandatory sessions, measurable restitution, time-stamped compliance. Level 3, exit. Unrepentant deception, sexual violation, financial manipulation, or mocking the process ends the relationship immediately. No drama, no slander, just discipline. Mercy is not the absence of standards. Mercy is restoration under standards. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. If they disrespect the latter, they will destroy the marriage. Lead with your life. Post your policies where temptation can read them. Share them with community so secrecy has no oxygen. Tweet this now. System save sincerity. Your feelings will flutter. Your ethics will anchor. Lock yourself into the prison of your convictions and you will discover it is the doorway to freedom. There is no such thing as a private life. Write it down. Tweet it to somebody right now. Secrets are not safes. Secrets are delayed headlines. Jesus said, nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, nor anything secret that will not be made known and come to light. Luke 8:17. That's not a threat. That's a law. You can ignore it, but you can never disagree with it. The dark is a storage unit, not a grave. Everything you think is buried is simply waiting for daylight and a witness. Honesty is my only policy. If you would be ashamed to see it on a billboard with your photo, don't do it in a bedroom with the lights off. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. Proverbs 10:9. Security is not a password. Security is integrity. Here's the rule of exposure. Make it your personal constitution. Never do anything you don't want anyone to find out about. That one sentence will save your destiny, your reputation, your money, and your marriage. Not because you are paranoid, but because you are principled. Transparency isn't control, it is insurance for trust. Insurance does not make the accident happen. Insurance protects you when life happens. Light is not interrogation, light is oxygen. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, 1 John 1-7. Fellowship is the dividend of light. So build light into your lifestyle. Shared calendars if we're courting. Our schedules are not classified. Your time reveals your truth. Mentor check-ins weekly, non-negotiable, with someone who has nothing to gain by flattering you. Group dating early stages happen in community. Chemistry respects company. Open phone culture, no secret apps, no hidden folders, no disappearing threads. If your device requires a disguise, your heart is already in costume. Location sharing during vulnerable hours. Integrity doesn't need alibis, it welcomes witnesses. Financial transparency, receipts kept, budgets agreed, giving visible. Now listen to me as a father. If this sounds like prison, it's because you were planning an escape. Light only scares those who love the dark. Everyone practicing evil hates the light, but he who does the truth comes to the light. John 3:20-21. Now manage your gates, eyes, ears, environment. Remove media that negotiates your standards. Delete the shows that turn sin into satire and holiness into humor. Uninstall apps designed to monetize your impulses. Leave rooms where your boundaries are mocked. Don't apologize for pruning. Trees that apologize for pruning never bear fruit. Jesus said, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be thrown into hell. Matthew 5:29. Translation, severe measures are safer than subtle compromises. Write it down. What I remove is part of who I become. Ephesians says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. Exposure begins with your own phone, your own playlist, your own late night habits. Adopt an identity posture, live loudly, so darkness has no oxygen. Put your standards on the wall, not just in your heart. Post your policies in your house. Share them with your circle. Make secrecy suffocate in your presence. We aim to be honorable not only in the Lord's sight, but also in the sight of man. 2 Corinthians 8:21. That's not performance. That's protection. The Lord our God is one. Be one. One person, one policy, one you in every room. There is no such thing as a private life. There is only a secret life waiting for an audience. Live so loudly that when the devil brings a microphone, it finds no scandal to amplify. Here is the economics of intimacy. Transparency compounds trust. Secrecy compounds suspicion. Every open door adds interest to your credibility account. Every hidden corridor of cruise fees you will pay with sleepless nights and interrogations you could have avoided. Trust grows by predictability under light. Put this in your notes and tweet it now. Transparency isn't control. It is insurance for trust. If you must hide it, you shouldn't hold it. If you must lie to keep it, it is already stealing from you. So interrogate your systems tonight. Who can unlock your phone besides you? Who knows where you are after 10 p.m.? Who has veto power over plans when your feelings surge? Which app is negotiating your vow? What room must you resign from to remain whole? Write it down. Make the calls. Delete debate. Invite the light. Lock yourself in the prison of your convictions, and you will discover it is the doorway to freedom. There is no private life, only the life you light on purpose. Live loudly and let trust breathe. Now that the lights are on, you need a map. Order is protective, not decorative. God is not the author of confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Laboratories don't guess, they run protocols. Write it down. Replace trial and error with a principled pathway that makes outcomes predictable. Tweet that to somebody right now. Phase 1, preparation. Heal, clarify purpose, define values. Do not recruit a nurse, become whole. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Let God stitch you before you stitch your names together. Purpose first. Adam had assignment before access. Genesis 2:15-18. Write the vision. Make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2. Document your only policies. Honesty is my only policy. Purity is my only policy. Transparency is my only policy. Stewardship is my only policy. Fast from dating if necessary. Not as punishment, but as preparation. If your heart bleeds, courtship will stain. Let the physician discharge you, then apply for partnership. Phase 2, screening. Daylight, direct, documented. Coffee at 11 a.m., not compliments at 11 p.m. Ask about the 3 tests: power, money, sex. Don't flirt with questions. Fire them. Who mentors you? And do they have veto power? When corrected, what do you do? Who has your passwords? What's your giving pattern? Do you honor God or tip him? What's your policy for sexual purity? Do you flee or negotiate? When was the last time you chose light over likes? The purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Proverbs 20:5. Draw it out without apology. You're not interrogating a suspect. You are interviewing for covenant leadership. Phase 3, observation. Watch them in community, under pressure, with small authority and small money. Don't announce the test. Life will. Give them a $100 group budget and a deadline. Do they return, change the receipts, or tell stories? Ask them to organize a service project. Do they show up early or arrive with excuses? How do they treat a waiter who can't reward them? Correct them gently in public. Do they learn or retaliate? By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established. 2 Corinthians 13:1. Community is your witness. Remember, pressure doesn't create character. Pressure reveals character. Phase 4, boundaries. Install a sexual opportunity test plan. Do not awaken love until it pleases. Song of Solomon 8:4. No sleepovers. None. Doors open. Curfews honored. Public spaces for affection. Private spaces for proven covenant. No alcohol on dates. Intoxication is unauthorized influence. Preset an exit word. One word either can say when chemistry surges and the evening ends immediately without debate or shame. Flee sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6:18. Not explain, flee. If they sulk when you say the exit word, that's not romance, that's rebellion. Write it down. Respect for boundaries is rehearsal for faithfulness. Phase 5. Financial fences. Separate accounts. No co-signing. No joint subscriptions. Spending caps for gifts. Set the number and stick to it. Lavish gifts in early stages are leashes, not love. Receipts culture. Every shared expense documented. Every reimbursement prompt. The borrower is servant to the lender. Proverbs 22:7. Refuse emotional debt money. Must not mortgage your judgment. And remember, a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise. Deuteronomy 16:19. If a gift demands silence, return it or donate it. Phase 6. Decision gates. Establish measurable green flags and red lines. Green flags. They keep curfew without coaching. Invite mentors unprompted. Confess quickly. Honor no without negotiation. Bring receipts. Tell the truth even when it costs. Welcome light on devices and calendars. Red lines. Lying once, exit. Hidden accounts or deleted threads, exit. Sexual pressure after clear standards, exit. Mocking your faith, mentors or policies, exit. Financial manipulation, exit. Isolation from community, exit. You can never disagree with the principle. If a law is broken, you exit, not explain. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Matthew 5:30. Better to lose a relationship than to lose your integrity. Create review checkpoints, 30 days, 90 days, 6 months. At each gate, evaluate against the policy, not your pulse. If green flags increase, proceed to premarital counsel. If red lines appear, you do not pray about what God has already answered by law. Lead with your life. Post the protocol in plain sight. Invite witnesses. Tweet this now. Systems make sincerity sustainable. When you walk in integrity, you walk securely. Proverbs 10:9. Lock yourself into this pathway, and the confusion will cease, the outcomes will stabilize, and covenant will stop feeling like a gamble and start looking like a graduation. Stop experimenting, caught by principle, and let predictability protect your heart. Reality check. Everything you built can be destroyed in 5 seconds. One click, one door opened, one answer to a DM at 1:58 a.m. Axe the headlines. Gifts, followers, charisma evaporated under the sun because a private experiment demanded a public funeral. Write it down. Gravity does not apologize, and neither does exposure. Jesus already told you the policy. Nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Mark 4:22. You can ignore it, but you can never disagree with the principle. Power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. Access is a spotlight. Intimacy is a microphone. What you negotiate in the dark becomes your press conference in the daylight. Be sure your sin will find you out. Numbers 32-23. Not because God is cruel, but because truth is a law. Honesty is my only policy. Most scandals don't start on the front page. They start in unlocked phones, unguarded nights, and unanswered mentors. Tweet that to somebody right now. Headlines cost households. Experiments at midnight invoice children at breakfast. Your choices are curriculum. Your life is the textbook. You shall teach them diligently to your children. Deuteronomy 6-7, and you teach with what you tolerate. If you lie, they learn camouflage. If you keep curfew with conviction, they learn discipline. If you sign only policies and enforce them, they inherit a fence around their future. Proverbs says, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. Your name is your child's first inheritance. Protect it. Guard it like a vault. One moment can mortgage a generation. History salutes the unbending, not the unforgettable. Charisma is loud. Conviction is lasting. Daniel outlived empires because he refused to negotiate his window policy. Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. Daniel 1-8. Lions could not digest a man who had already swallowed his fear. Mandela left prison with his principles intact, and government sat on the shoulders of his integrity. Gifts impressed, convictions endured. Write it down. Unwavering standards under pressure outlive talent under applause. Place your fear correctly. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 9:10. Fear the consequence enough to be careful, not paralyzed. The wise are not afraid of light. They are afraid of decay. Dead flies make the perfumer's ointment give off a stench. So a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. Ecclesiastes 10:1. One fly spoils the fragrance. One secret spoils the season. Let holy caution patrol your late night habits. Let accountability interrupt your impulses. By the fear of the Lord, one turns away from evil. Proverbs 16:6. Fear can be your guardian if you hire it early. So write this vow and post it where your feelings can read it. I will not trade decades for moments. Say it until your hormones hear it. Say it until your calendar respects it. Say it until opportunity knows you are not for sale. Tweet it now. Tape it to your phone. Put it in your wallet. Put it on your mirror. If a moment asks you to mortgage your name, deny the loan. If an invite requires a disguise, decline the room. If a DM needs a delete, block it and bless your future. Protect your legacy by refusing the private compromises that become public disasters. Your household is watching. Your heritage is waiting. Walk loudly in the light, because predictability is the language of trust, and trust is the currency of covenant. Lead with your life. Lock yourself in and let your grandchildren inherit headlines of honor, not history lessons in regret. Covenant is not romance. Covenant is risk management under God. The question is not, are you in love? The question is, are you safe to love? Write it down. Safety is predictability. Can someone predict you at 2 a.m.? Not your feelings at 2 p.m. Your reflex at 2 a.m. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. Predictability is the language of trust. An unpredictable person is a storm in slow motion. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a bad tooth and a foot out of joint. Proverbs 25:19. You cannot build a home on a sprained ankle. Tweet that to somebody right now. So here is your self-audit. Ask it without mercy. Are you for sale? If the price exists, the market will find it. Who mentors you? And can they stop you? Not a fan, a father. Not a cheerleader, a coach. What do you hide? If a device must be disguised to be used, it is already discipling you. How do you handle cash? Receipts tell the truth, your mouth avoids. What's your pawn plan? Not your wish, your plan. Make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. Romans 13:14. That means filters installed, passwords held by a mentor, devices exiled from bedrooms, early bedtime over late wandering, scripture in your mouth when cravings knock. Flee youthful lust. 2 Timothy 2:22. Don't put the lion in your lap and call it a pet. Honesty is my only policy. If you cannot say your policy aloud in public, you don't have a policy, you have a preference. Purpose. First deployment before employment. Discover and deploy your gift so you don't demand a savior in dating. Stir up the gift of God which is in you. 2 Timothy 1:6. A man's gift makes room for him. Proverbs 18:16. Adam was deployed in the garden before Eve was deployed beside him. Genesis 2:15-18. If you don't know where you're going, anyone becomes a ride and you become cargo. Service is the antidote to neediness. Fill your schedule with assignment so you do not hire romance to heal boredom. Write it down. Bring overflow to the table, not an appetite you plan to feed with somebody's soul. Require outside verification. Love is blind. Community adds glasses. In the multitude of counselors there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Submit your relationship to elders and peers who have no motive to flatter you. Ask for references from their life pastor, employer, same-sex friends, their mother who is not afraid to tell the truth. Let witnesses speak. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established. 2 Corinthians 13:1. If secrecy is necessary for your relationship to survive, your relationship cannot survive marriage. Transparency is insurance for trust. Pay the premium now. Run stress rehearsals before life does. Simulate the 3 tests: power, money, access to sex. What will you do when a superior flirts and offers a fast track? Pre-write your line. I do not negotiate worship for promotion. What will you do when sudden money arrives with unspoken strings? Pre-write. I return leashes disguised as gifts. What will you do when chemistry surges and the room gets quiet? Pre-write. Exit word. Call a mentor. Leave the building. Jesus met offers with, it is written, Matthew 4. Craft your it is written for every test. Role play with your accountability until saying no feels like muscle memory. Character is self-imposed. Discipline builds a reflex now. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Your tiny rehearsals today are training wheels for covenant tomorrow. Lead with your life. Let your lifestyle preach louder than your lips. If your Instagram needs better captions to explain your holiness, your schedule isn't holy enough yet. Live so that your calendar, your bank statement, your browser history, and your mentor can all agree this person is safe. Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Amos tres contra tres. Agreement begins inside you. Your vows must already be verbs. Write this down and tweet it now. You are ready for covenant when you already live the vows you plan to make. Not promise fidelity, practice it. Not announce truth, tell it before it's asked. Not pledge transparency, walk in the light daily. Lock yourself in the prison of your convictions and you will find it is the hallway to a trustworthy home. When your 2 a.m. is as predictable as your 2 p.m., when your mentors consign your character, when your purpose keeps you too busy to bargain with temptation, then you are safe to love. And covenant can find you without fear. This is your sealing moment. We have walked from confusion to clarity, from charisma to character, from secrecy to light. Now you must lock yourself in. Write it down and tweet it to somebody you love right now. Feelings are real, but principles are final. Gravity doesn't apologize, and neither do the laws that protect your heart. Image before dominion, God gave character before power. Genesis 1:26. You are not for sale if your price is zero. The market is silent. Live loudly, no private life. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, Galatians 5:1. Stand firm by binding yourself to law. Make your vows, not as poetry, but as policy. Say them with me and engrave them in your soul. I do not lie. I do not hide. I do not negotiate my sexual boundaries. I do not borrow peace from secrecy. Again, slow and strong. I do not lie. I do not hide. I do not negotiate my sexual boundaries. I do not borrow peace from secrecy. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. Psalm 15 says, the righteous swears to his own hurt and does not change. Psalm 15:4. That's covenant material. That's predictability. At 2 a.m., write these vows, sign them, date them, and post them where temptation must read them before it reaches you. Now, draft your boundary contract. This is not romance. This is governance. Write your ethics in clear language. Curfews, devices, money, mentors, exit words. Sign it before God. Share it with a mentor who can correct you without needing your permission. When appropriate, share with your partner so trust has paperwork. Schedule reviews 30, 60, 90 days on the calendar now. Invite evaluation against the policy, not your mood. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established. 2 Corinthians 13:1. Bring your witnesses. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Proverbs 27:6. If your standard cannot survive scrutiny, it will not survive seduction. Here is your 90-day challenge. Write it down. For the next 90 days, apply the protocol without edits. No sleepovers. Doors open. Group dates. Receipts kept, mentors called, phones in the light. Each week, prune one temptation. Unfollow the flirt feed. Delete the late night app. Resign from the room where your boundaries are mocked. Change the route that passes your weakness. Replace it with scripture, service, and sleep. Track 3 trust metrics weekly. 1. Curfew kept without coaching. 2. 0 deleted threads. Screenshots available on request. 3. Confession speed. How fast you reported a pressure or breach. Measure it. What you measure, you can multiply. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalm 90:12. For 90 days, prove that your values have become ethics, your ethics have become character, and your character has become lifestyle. This is the will of God, your sanctification, that each of you know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor. 1 Thessalonians 4:3, 4. Possess yourself by principle. Tweet it again loudly and tag someone you love. Feelings are real, but principles are final. Post it where you scroll. Tape it where you dress. Whisper it when chemistry shouts. When feelings surge, laws must speak. When opportunity knocks, ethics answer the door. Now receive this charge. Lock yourself in the prison of your convictions so you can live free. Bind the sacrifice with cords to the altar. Psalm 118-27. That sacrifice is your impulse. Present your body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God. Romans 12:1. The lock is not your enemy, it is your liberty. A is A at midnight. Let your life be one at all hours. Walk in the light, walk by your policies, walk with your witnesses, and you will stop experimenting forever. The confusion will end. The outcomes will stabilize. Covenant will not be a gamble, it will be a graduation. Lead with your life, sign the vows, share the contract, start the 90 days. And may he who is able to keep you from stumbling establish you blameless in love. Jude 24, 1 Thessalonians 3:13. Go live loudly, predictable, principled, and free.